Thank you for being here today, day 2 of the summit. So welcome back, everyone. Bright and early, so grab your cup of coffee. Hopefully the sunshine is coming through your window. I am Christina Moffett, Director of Small Business Resources for the Greater Des Moines Partnership, and I'm excited to welcome you to day 2 of the 4th Annual Small Business Success Summit. A couple reminders today. We ask that you leave your mics on mute. You use the chat function if you have questions or need help throughout the day. And we ask that you leave your cameras off so that we can save bandwidth for the presenters today. Another reminder, the sessions are being recorded. So if you missed anything from yesterday or you need to jump off today, or if both the breakout sessions sound great and you want to go to both, we will have the links up to the presentations within the next couple weeks after we trim them down, edit, and post them back out to the Summit website. This day would not be possible without our sponsors. So thank you to Kauffman Foundation, our premier sponsor. Thank you to the Business Record for being our media sponsor for the 4th year in a row. Thank you to our patron sponsor, Google, our radio sponsor, La Cuabena 1069, champion sponsors, Goldman Sachs, Hatch, Downing, John Winnick, Lincoln Savings Bank, Bankers Trust, and Iowa Economic Development Authority. Thank you to our supporter sponsors, Cirrus, TDT, CPAs and Advisors, Mid-American Energy, Drake Entrepreneurship Center, City of Ankeny, Iowa Center, NABO, and Fuse Des Moines. A huge shout out to Gravitate for allowing part of our crew to broadcast from your facility today. If you need anything throughout the day, please do not hesitate. Reach out to any of our DSM partnership team in the chat. We're here to help. So any of the breakout sessions will all have partnership staff in there if you need anything at any time. It is now my pleasure to welcome Sarah Brown as our media sponsor with the Business Record to introduce our keynote speaker. Sarah?
Good morning. I'm Sarah Brown, the Director of Advertising with the Business Record. We are proud to partner in the Small Business Success Summit as it aligns directly with our mission of informing, inspiring, elevating, and celebrating our communities through the power of communication, connection, and recognition. Business Record is the area's premier business-to-business publication, delivering critical information to business leaders so that they can do business better. It is my pleasure this morning to introduce to you today's keynote speaker, Michael Veltri. Michael is a leadership expert, battle-hardened business executive, and nationwide best-selling author. Recognizing that success in business and life is created by daily decisions we make, Michael elevates teams, fuel-injects leadership, and improves business performance through better decision-making practices. From ancient Japanese warriors to brain science, from business titans to academic research, Michael tapped wide-ranging resources to develop a groundbreaking model for better decision-making that leads to exponential leadership growth and peak performance with balance, not burnout. Simple, elegant, and effective, Michael's approach has positively impacted some of the world's most successful organizations, brands, and leaders. Michael is also a cancer survivor, decorated U.S. Marine veteran, and master instructor in classical Japanese martial arts. He brings his business-savvy martial arts discipline and Marine Corps leadership to every keynote speech, inspiring, motivating, and educating audiences worldwide. Michael, thanks so much for being here today, and we're excited to hear from you.
Thanks, Sarah. That was a great introduction. I really appreciate it. I'll go ahead and get my start screen sharing here, make sure we can all see everything. So thanks again, everybody. And as we're all familiar with Zoom, you should have the ability now to take that little box and move it around if you want to make my face bigger for any reason or make the slide deck bigger. Please go ahead and do that. And thanks for being here on our second day of the partnership. And I'd like us to all consider that our decisions shape our destiny. We know as busy entrepreneurs, business owners, managers, sales professionals, that the daily decisions that we make can positively or negatively impact our careers, our company, and our great community And if I can get you to make better decisions this morning by just a small uptick, the results will be geometric. And I know I made a huge decision that impacted my career, that ultimately impacted my company and community at the tender age of 17 when I decided to join the Marine Corps. So as Sarah said, I'm a Marine veteran, and this is 17-year-old Michael scared out of his mind in Marine Corps boot camp many years ago. And during Marine training, we got to do a lot of cool things, including throwing real live hand grenades. Boom, the real things. And it was my turn. I'm up and I'm holding the live hand grenade and I froze. I forgot what to do. I couldn't remember if it was thumb clip, pull pin, or pull pin, thumb clip, but I am standing there holding a live hand grenade. Now, somehow I did manage to rip the pin out and it's go time. You can't jam the pin back in once it's ripped out. I've got this Marine drill instructor right in my face screaming at me, Veltri, throw it, throw the grenade. And I've got a big decision to make here. 3 choices. Choice number 1, I make a good decision and I throw the doggone grenade. But we know as busy, successful professionals, even when we decide to make a good decision, we still have to execute it properly. Because what good is it if I don't throw the hand grenade far enough or at the right time or in the right direction? Choice number 2, I make a bad decision, right? I let my fear overwhelm me. I mean, I am standing there holding a live hand grenade with the pin ripped out. I've got that drill instructor right in my face screaming at me, purposefully driving up my fear, confusion, distracting me. But what about our egos? Right? Ever make a bad decision based on your ego? I've got 30 of my Marine buddies watching me to see if I'm going to screw this up. I don't want to look bad in front of them. I make a bad decision from my fear and ego, dropping the hand grenade, killing myself, killing and injuring my Marine buddies. And then there's always a third choice, where I neither choose to make a good decision and throw it, nor make a bad decision and drop it, get it over with. But if you know what the third option is, shoot a little comment over. There's always the choice to make no decision, because indecision is still a decision. And I have to hold on to that hand grenade for the rest of my life. So let me ask you, how are the decisions in your life like that? Now, I did work up the courage to throw that hand grenade. It was pretty cool, by the way. Nobody was hurt or injured. And I went on to have an 8-year career in the Marine Corps that I'm very proud of. And we're right on the heels of the Marine Corps birthday of November 10th and Veterans Day. So thank you for the service, for all of you veterans out there, all the veterans we have in our family. A little sidebar to thank everyone there. But I'd like us now to all consider that our decisions in business and life are like that hand grenade. You're either going to hold it, drop it, or throw it. You're either going to make a good decision, a bad decision, or no decision. And I know we're not all holding on to real life hand grenades. Hopefully you're not. But think of the hand grenade decisions that you're holding on to. As we enter into strategic planning time for 2021, do we hire this person, fire this person? How do we get sales back up? How do we engage with the community? How do we handle the ever-changing landscapes of changing regulations? We're juggling all of these hand grenades. And if I can get you, again, to make better decisions by just a small uptick, the results will be geometric. But here's the challenge. Researchers at Cornell University have discovered that kids, our darling sons and daughters, make a whopping 3,000 decisions a day. Kids make 3,000 decisions a day. And if you're like me, I have a 6-year-old. If you've had to remote learn or have your kids at home for any amount of time, we know that kids do not make the best decisions. For example, I'd like you to meet my darling little daughter, Kiara. Right there, little blondie. Hopefully you can see everything. Now, if you look closely, my little darling blondie there made a decision to snip off her little friend's top knot there. Now, There are a couple bad decisions here. Kiara came running up to me and said, "Daddy, can I play with the scissors?" And Dad said yes, another bad decision. Kiara decided to snip off her little friend's top knot, and her little friend's mom decided to never bring her back for another play date so far to our house. So now, not only do these little kids make bad decisions, but what about us big kids? Okay. Now, please shoot over a message here. If kids make 3,000 decisions a day, how many decisions a day do you think the researchers at Cornell University discovered that us busy professionals make on a daily basis? And here's a clue. It's a little more than 3,000. So shoot over some ideas. We'd like to participate. If can't be in person, you can definitely chat with us. We see some, I'm going to take a peek here, see some good ideas coming through. Very good. Okay. So researchers at Cornell University have discovered that us busy professionals make a whopping 35,000 semi-conscious to conscious decisions a day. 35,000 decisions a day, 365 days a year. That's over 12 million decisions annually we're faced with. Our colleagues, clients, customers, family, friends are faced with big hand grenade decisions, little hand grenade decisions you may be throwing in the wrong direction. With over 12 million decisions annually, 35,000 a day, there's got to be room for improvement. For example, have you ever seen this? Now look closely. Flammable. No smoking. Absolutely no common sense, right? We've all seen this. We go to get gas, there's some guy making a decision to smoke at the pumps. Now, a decision like this leads to a decision like this. And what I always love about this slide is, not only the guy taking the selfie in front of the fireball, but then obviously somebody's taking a picture of the guy taking a picture. I'm not sure how that works. So 35,000 decisions a day we're faced with. The challenge is we don't have a simple system to help us juggle all of these hand grenade decisions, all of these 35,000 overwhelming decisions. And think about it. I'm sure you have other systems to help you succeed in your life. Right now, we're using one, right? We all became pretty much masters of virtual communication over these last several months. I'm sure you have systems that help you track sales, systems that help you track your projects and your strategic planning, systems that help you track your budget at home. But I never took a decision-making science class. So if we are making our decisions based on misguided cues or the latest fad or what your gut's telling you, you're not going to make the best decisions possible. You're going to make mediocre decisions, and I'm not okay with that. I am not okay with us being mediocre leaders. Now more than ever, we need to be making the best decisions possible. Decisions that leap us powerfully into 2021 and beyond. Because if not, if we're making mediocre decisions, it leads to regret. Regret that we lost a big client, that our project didn't succeed, or that you never fulfilled your true life calling. But if you can learn a simple system to help you manage those hand grenade decisions, to help you manage those 35,000 daily decisions, then you liberate your future and you live regret-free. And that's what I'm passionate about. I'm passionate about showing successful professionals. Let's face it, if you're on this morning, you are a successful type A person wanting to better yourself and learn more. But how many of us have become successfully miserable? So if you can learn about a system, you can become successful without being successfully miserable. And I've studied decision-making in many different contexts. As Sarah shared with us this morning in my bio, and again, thank you, Sarah, I've studied decision-making in life or death combat in the Marine Corps and in the martial arts. I've studied decision-making in battling for my own life, in fighting my own personal demons of cancer. I've studied decision-making in the boardroom of many different businesses. And I've studied decision-making at academic institutions, and this is what I've discovered. There are several common decision-making traps that impact our ability to be successful that we all fall into, that our colleagues, clients, family, friends all fall into. But likewise, there are several simple solutions to help us avoid, conquer, get out of these decision-making traps, because we're still going to fall into them no matter how good we get. And that's what I'm going to be teaching us today, because it boils down to, if I can get you to make great decisions, it leads to great leadership, great servant leadership, taking our community farther and more successful and creative than we ever could imagine, which leads to great results. And by way of example, let's look at the organization that's hosting us this morning. How many of you know, and go ahead, shoot over a chat, how long the partnership has been in existence? 25 years, 30 years, 50 years? Do you know your partnership history? Surprise. Okay, now even 125 years isn't correct, because take a closer look. It was in 2013 that the partnership celebrated 125 years. So we have to add 7 years, 132 years of existence. Now, that's 132 years of making some decisions to be around that long. I'm sure they all weren't amazing, right? But I'm sure, right, there's an upward curve. How great would it be if our organization is around for 100 years, 132 years, that we could leave our company behind knowing that it's in great hands because we've made great strategic decisions. We've set our company up, whether your company has been in existence for a couple months, a couple years, or a couple decades, to thrive for 132 years in this great community of ours. So I'd like to introduce a concept that's going to help us all keep us thriving personally and professionally. Now, I lived in Japan, as Sarah said in my bio. I lived in Japan for 10 wonderful years. Shoot us a little chat if you've ever been to Japan. Maybe you've lived there yourself, or maybe you just visited, or maybe you just like to eat sushi. So Japan's a beautiful country. I first went to Japan when I was on active duty in the Marine Corps. Right? There's a lot of military bases throughout Japan from World War II. And I finished up my enlistment in the Marine Corps there. And then I stayed in Japan. And, I joined the military for several different reasons, one of which was I was attracted to the noble warrior ethos, the honor, the integrity of the military, serving others, helping others. And once I got out, I stayed in Japan studying the equivalent of the elite military arts, the samurai arts, the way of the warrior. The samurai warriors were also based in nobility and helping others and serving. And when I studied these samurai arts, not only did I study the really cool martial arts, the external arts, but more importantly, I studied the internal art, aspects of Zen meditation. I studied meditation at beautiful Zen temples throughout Japan that are close to 1,000 years old. Now, I wish I could have just stayed there doing these really cool things, studying meditation, doing the martial arts, but I did have to pay for it somehow. I did have to make a living. And while I was in Japan, I was also working as a business consultant for a US company, helping to set up American companies throughout Asia Pacific. Now, as I was working on these very complicated business projects, I realized that what I had learned in the military, what I had learned in the martial arts, what I had learned in mindfulness was applicable on the battlefield of business. And I came across a concept that transformed my life, and I want to share with you. It's called Mushin in Japanese. Now, it literally means no mind. But I'd like you to think of it as no distractions, or clarity. Clarity to make the right decision at the right time, all the time, but especially when the pace is fast, the stakes are high, and the outcome unclear. And now, right, our outcome, as we know, isn't the clearest it's been The pace can sometimes be agonizingly slow if we're having to work remote and homeschool and everything else. Practicing Mushin allows you to free yourself from the shackles of fear and ego and confusion. The samurai warriors discovered this when they fought to the death with razor-sharp samurai swords. Life or death was decided not in seconds, but milliseconds. Practicing Mushin, this clarity, allows you to see the right path forward. It's the clarity of the enlightened warrior. And make no mistake about it, we are all enlightened warriors, fighting for our careers, fighting for our companies, fighting for our community, fighting for our great country. And I want to arm you for decision-making battle so you can walk confidently today, tomorrow, next year and beyond, juggling those hand grenade decisions, handling those 35,000 daily decisions with confidence and knowing that you're going to drop them every now and then. When one of those hand grenades drop, you kick it out of the way and it safely explodes somewhere else. So let's dive in and take a look at the first decision-making trap, but more importantly, the first solution on how to conquer the clogged arteries trap. Now, we have all become that proverbial frog, boiling in that bubbling, scalding cauldron of electronic distractions. Now, shoot a little comment over here. How many times a day, and it's not 35,000, that's our decisions. How many times a day do you think busy professionals like us look at your smartphone? Now, some of you on this Zoom call didn't even hear the question because you're looking at your smartphone now. Put it down. Okay, shooting a comment over. How many times a day do you think we look at our smartphone? Okay, let's see what comes across. Okay, we're seeing some guesses come across. Now, I mean, like even before I started this morning, I have to go check because the statistics are climbing. Even since COVID happened and people are more at home, the result is going up. On average, busy professionals like me and you, not kids, because it's a lot higher, we look at our smartphone about 350 to 400 distracting times per day. Heavy users, and you know some of these people, heavy users will look at their smartphone close to 2,000 times per day. Now, how many of you, right, professionals with a smartphone are also connected to the office? And if you're stuck at home, you're connected longer than 14 hours per day. That means the very first thing you see when you get up in the morning are your work emails, calendar items, to-do lists, social media posts, this, that, and the other. Let me see, shoot over a little chat saying yes or something. How many of you use your smartphone as an alarm clock each morning? Give us a virtual high five or send us over. Yes, I do. Okay. I used to. My smartphone would go off. My alarm would go off at 5. I'd immediately grab it. I'd start looking at my emails, text messages, calendar items, invites, social media posts. My heart rate would spike. I would start to sweat. I would worry about what I have to do. And where do you think I still was? Yeah, I'm still in bed. Like it's not even 5:00:10. It's like 5 seconds in. My heart is pounding. I jump out of bed. And then like a hamster on a wheel, I'm chasing after my own smartphone, being reactive, juggling hand grenade decisions, dropping them, letting those 35,000 decisions crush me. And let me ask you, do you use your smartphone or does your smartphone use you? I know for years, my smartphone used me. As a matter of fact, recently, I don't know if you saw this study, University of Virginia decided to test our dependency on distractions, our addiction even to distractions. And if you read the study, it's fascinating, so don't give away the secret. This is how the study went. UVA asked male and female professionals, adults now, to simply sit alone without distractions for 15 minutes. Easy, right? 15 minutes, no distractions. You saw earlier my little daughter. So, if I can get 15 minutes of peace and quiet, woo, that's awesome. So each participant sat at a table that had a red button. Had to press the red button to start the 15-minute timer. And when they did, the red button secretly delivered a shock so powerful to the person that on a survey, they said they would gladly pay money to never experience the shock again. Now, here's what the results of the study showed. And again, 15 minutes alone, nothing in the room. You're sitting at a table and there's a red button. Ladies, here is the good news. Only about 50% of you could not do it. 55% of the female participants, knowing what would happen, chose to press that red button repetitively, shocking themselves. But wait, guys, okay, we can't be outdone by the ladies. What do you think the percentage of knucklehead guys was that couldn't leave well enough alone? And go ahead, shoot over a little comment. Couldn't leave well enough alone and chose to press that red button, shocking themselves. Now, again, knowing what would happen. And here's a clue again, guess high. Shoot over some ideas, right? Okay, here it is, all right? 97%, almost all of the male participants, knowing what would happen, chose to press that little red button repetitively, shocking themselves. Maybe it won't shock me now. Now, think about what these results are telling us. That most of us, most of our colleagues, subordinates, superiors, clients, family, friends, can't sit alone for 15 lousy minutes without needing a distraction. What are we so afraid we're going to see in our mind's eye if left alone? Are we going to see hand grenade decisions that we're holding on to? Hand grenade decisions that we've thrown the wrong way? Hand grenade decisions that we've dropped? We've got to take back this losing battle against distractions. For us to be armed for decision-making battle and face the world confidently, we have to prime our decision-making pump. We have to unclog these decision-making arteries so we can even be ready for decision-making battle. Otherwise, that's like going into battle, with one arm and one leg tied behind your back. You're already losing. It's like looking at your smartphone and the first thing you do when you get up in the morning. You're already behind the curve. So the solution is easy. As Sarah was introducing me, I did it. It's called the double 5 count. It takes about 15, 20 seconds to do. It's a deep breathing exercise. The double 5 count, you're going to take 5 deep breaths 2 times, literally 15, 20 seconds. And what it's going to help to do is prime your decision-making pump, get you focused. And whether you like it or not, there's some very good benefits of taking a few deep breaths, because why don't we take it proactively instead of reactively? How many of us have done this? When it's too late, right? We automatically take a deep breath when it's too late, when our body needs increased circulation, when our body needs increased focus. And we definitely take a deep breath when we need decreased stress. So the double 5 count works like this. And I'd like us to all do it this morning together. Now, where you are, I'd like you to stand up. If you can, go ahead and stand up. Now, some of you are listening to this while you're driving. Don't stand up. But if you're not in a place where you can stand up, go ahead and sit up straight like you see in the picture. But otherwise, come on, stand up with me. I'm standing up. Shoulders back, soft knees, so don't lock your legs. And we're going to take 5 deep breaths, but a certain way. You're going to count each exhale from 1 to 5. And I want you to breathe not just with your lungs, but with your belly. So as you inhale with me now, inhale, expand your stomach. Expand your stomach. And as you exhale, contract your belly and count 1 silently to yourself. Inhale, exhale, count silently 2. Inhale, exhale, 3, 4, 5. 5 deep belly breaths. Now, you're all smart, the double 5 count. So you're going to do it again, except this time, I want you to count backwards from 5 to 1. Keep breathing with me while I'm talking. Inhale and exhale. If you want to close your eyes and just listen to my voice, that's fine. Inhale, expand your stomach. Exhale, contract your belly. Count silently, count the breaths. 1 through 5, 5 through 1. Keep your own count. Inhale and exhale. If you've closed your eyes, go ahead and open. Simple little trick. By counting each exhalation, you draw the focus of your mind to your counting. It quiets the squirrel that runs around there, the things that you worry about when you wake up in the middle of the night. those hand grenade decisions that you're wondering about, not sure what to do. Focus on the counting. It starts to unclog your decision-making artery, starts to prime you for decision-making battle, helps you to armor up to face the day and face any challenge that we work with. It also helps you to manage your day. And I've decided to share one extra little tool with you today that I call the 4 Ds. Now, I know, right, we all like our technology, and myself too. You know, I have mobile email, but I use my smartphone. I don't let my smartphone use you. So to help you with the double 5 count, to help you against this losing battle against distractions, I always get questions about how to handle our inbound email. So here's a simple little tool called the 4 Ds that if you do nothing more than today than to take away the 4 Ds, it's going to help you make better decisions, be a better leader, and do better results. Because remember, if you cannot manage yourself, you can't manage others. So the 4 Ds helps you to manage yourself, manage your day, manage your inbox, and it works like this. You check your email, I don't know, you have 100 messages, 20 messages, 300 messages. This is a suggested way to handle your inbound electronic stuff. Do it. If you have an email that, for me, I set it 2 minutes or less to do, I get it, we're done right there. For you, it might be 1 minute or 3 minutes. That's the first D. Get it done, move it out of your inbox, be on with it. Defer it. If it's an email that requires you to think and focus and spend more than, say, 2 minutes, defer it to a later time when you have focused, quiet time to work. I work in 45-minute chunks. I block my day. So I know I have a 45-minute work chunk at, say, 10 a.m., and I'm going to defer that high-energy work until then. If it's not your responsibility, delegate it. Move it along. Don't let it sit in your inbox. Send it to the person that it's responsible for. Trust but verify. Okay, don't just send and hope that they do it. You need a system to trust but verify, and we can't get into systems to do that right now. But if you have questions, just reach out to me. I can send you some ideas on how to trust and verify, so you have a lot of confidence. And the last D is delete. Do, defer, delegate, delete. Get it out of your inbox. If you don't need it, if it's spam or something that doesn't pertain to you, get rid of it. Get your inbox down and manageable psychologically. And how many of you, right, are looking at 100, 1,000 emails sitting in your inbox? It's going to worry you. You're going to have anxiety. It's going to impact your ability and distract you from making the best decision possible. So the 4 Ds, this is a little extra one. Again, you do nothing more than take a few deep breaths. Do the double 5 count. Start your day by do, defer, delegate, and delete. And you're going to free up so much mental energy and space to make better decisions. I guarantee it'll positively impact your life. Now, let's jump into some action, 60 seconds of action. Hopefully you have something to write with. Stay away from those pesky little phones because you're going to get distracted. But this is what I'd like us to do. I'd like you to practice the double 5 count 3 times a day. Okay? Do it before you start work, whether that's when you wake up, before you open your laptop. 5 deep breaths 2 times. Get ready for decision-making battle. Clear out your decision-making arteries. Prime your decision-making pump. Do it in the morning. Do it after lunch when you can benefit from increased circulation, increased focus and awareness, and decreased stress. Right after lunch, we get a little sleepy. Taking a few deep breaths will get the body pumping. We'll get the circulation going again. And then the third time is do the double 5 count anytime you have a big meeting, you need to make a big decision. Like I said, you know, even I'm still nervous when I have to talk to audiences. So when Sarah was introducing me, I was doing the double 5 count as I was listening to everything. So do it in the morning, do it in the afternoon, do the double 5 count anytime you have a big decision or a big meeting, things like that. I'm going to go back and show you. So please write down the 3 Ds. Even now, if you want to schedule, hey, I'm going to do it in the morning. I'm going to do it when we finish. Write down a commitment to doing the 3 Ds. Next one is I'm going to show you the 4 Ds again. And please, if you haven't, snap a screenshot. Take out that distracting little cell phone, or if you know how to do it on your laptop, capture it, and then print and post it somewhere. Do, defer, delegate, delete. Have it as a reminder. Something that simple, I guarantee, is going to help you be more successful. You can old school print it on paper and put it up somewhere, or put it up electronically somewhere. So I'm going to go back and show you the 4Ds. Let's go take a screenshot of this bad boy. If you need to move the pictures out of the way, do that. But go ahead, take a picture, take a screenshot, and commit to posting it where you can see it, where you could practice like anything, getting better at managing your inbox, managing yourself, so you can have the space to manage others. Okay, I got to keep us on track. I'm going to move on. So hopefully you've all had a chance to take a screenshot of this. Now, we're ready for decision-making battle, right? We've primed our decision-making pump. We're getting better at handling distractions. Now we got to start making some decisions. The trap 2 that we all fall into, remember 35,000 decisions a day, is called the Goldilocks trap. This is the trap of extremes in our decision-making that get in the way. And what do we know about Goldilocks and the 3 bears? She was always faced with extremes. This bowl of porridge, too hot, too cold, just right. The bed's too hard, too soft, so on and so forth. The decision-making trap of extremes happens when we make a decision, for example, too quickly. Have you ever heard the phrase, you go extinct by your instinct? Maybe you make an instinctual decision too quick and it's the wrong decision. But the opposite's true. Analysis paralysis. We all know that person that bottlenecks our projects. It's never us, right? Someone that just takes forever to make a decision. It's like, when we give ourselves too many choices. That's another one. You give yourself too many choices. It's like when you wander into the cereal aisle at your grocery store. You know, I go into my cereal aisle at my grocery store. There's so many choices. I come out the other end 3 hours later with a grocery cart full of cereal that I don't need, don't want, but I cook them anyways because I had too many choices. And likewise, if you give yourself too few choices, that's when the Goldilocks trap of extremes impacts you. And I want to share a real world business case study with you, something that happened to me. When I worked in Japan as a consultant, I worked on a project that was a joint venture between General Motors and Toyota. They had already manufactured together a car to sell throughout Asia Pacific. And it was primarily for Japan, but throughout all of Asia Pacific. But unfortunately, it wasn't selling. Sales were way down. And they were realizing, sorry, that dog won't hunt. It wasn't selling. And they hired our consulting firm. I was assigned to the project to try and figure out how can we breathe life back into this? How can we get sales going and get this back up? So myself and a Japanese colleague spent like 3 hours, and my Japanese colleague covered the car tip to tail, bumper to bumper, and he pointed out to me through the Japanese consumer, through the Asian consumer's eyes, all the things that might be wrong with the car. There are some big things. For example, the seats. The seats were luxurious, high quality, comfortable, but they were built a little too big for the smaller Asian consumer. When they sat in them, psychologically, it just didn't feel good. And then there were other things. And so the good Marine that I was, the good type A overachiever, I'm taking all these notes. I've got this big pad of 300, 400 points. I dump it all into a project plan. I get it all organized. I meet with GM. I get them excited. I say, hey, this is how we're going to fix it. We've got these project plans. We got the team ready. Let's go. We jumped in. And what do you think happened? Yeah, nothing. I suffered from the Goldilocks trap of extreme. We had too many people involved, too many things, too many decisions. And instead of succeeding at all of it, we failed miserably. But I learned a valuable lesson. I learned a valuable rule that I want to share with you that will help you in any situation of extremes, whether it's faced with a lot of things or too little. It's called the 3x15 rule. And it works like this, the 3x15 rule. The mind is built to only handle 3 pieces of information at once. If you input a fourth, it's going to push something else out. It's going to distract you. We need to work in groups of 3. And this is why. I call this the rule of 3. And again, please take a screenshot of this, write it down. If you do nothing more than take away the rule of 3 today, it's going to positively impact your business. I guarantee it. It works like this. One choice is not a choice. If you're saying, okay, I can only hire this candidate. No. One choice is not a choice. All right? We can only sell this product, or we can only do this. But guess what? 2 is just a dilemma. Either this or that. It's binary. You need 3 choices to truly have strategic, innovative, creative choice. One choice is not a choice. 2 is just a dilemma. You need 3 choices to truly have choice. If you're faced with a big decision and you only see 1 path or 2 paths forward, you need to work.
Wade, where are they?
Well, on mute, please. We all need to work a little harder if we're only left with 1 or 2. And even if you task a colleague, a subordinate, to come up with something, have them, and they come back to you with 1 or 2 options. Push your staff to come back with 3, to be more creative and innovative. And one way to do that is to set a timer. Now, 3 by 15. Do you need 15 minutes to make every decision or to come up with ideas? No. Okay? Sometimes you need a lot less. Sometimes you need more. But I encourage you to set a timer. We use the Alexa Dot in my office. And when my team and I are brainstorming, we'll say, Alexa, set a timer for 10 minutes, set a timer for 20 minutes. And setting a timer psychologically pulls you forward powerfully, not with pressure, but with purpose. And so I encourage you to set a timer and work on your rule of 3. And I'm going to set a timer for all of us right now, but I'm going to set a 60-second timer as we jump right back into action. Scribble your notes down, have something that you were looking on. If you're typing, okay, but don't be distracted by them. These are the 60 seconds of action I want you to work on right now. We're all, like I said, 35,000 decisions a day is a real number. We're putting off making a decision. I know you have a stuck decision. Pick one stuck decision that you're struggling with, business or personal. Right? Maybe it's strategic planning time and you're wondering about what Q1 or Q2 is going to look like next year. Budgets, sales, anything like that. Or a personal decision. What are we going to eat on Thanksgiving? How do we get the kids back to school? I'm sure that there's a bunch of decisions that you're putting off making. Pick one. Now, I want you to apply the rule of 3. Just start to brainstorm. If you only see one way forward, force yourself to come up with 3. If you have 4 or 5 decisions, start scratching them off. Try to work in groups of 3 to move that stuck decision forward. And more importantly, please look at number 3 here. I want you to practice avoiding the tyranny of how. Now, let me explain the tyranny of how. Like I said earlier, if you're on this virtual webinar this morning, you are invested in your education. You're a successful person that wants to be more successful. Many people like that, myself included, wants to know, how do I need to do something before we even get into good action? It's called the tyranny of how. And if we don't have it planned out perfectly, or if we don't have it planned out too much, we don't get into the right or suffer into enough action. It's called the tyranny of how. It's a catch-22. So just take a deep breath, you overachievers like me, and just start. The how starts to show itself as you get into action. So take a couple seconds right now. Pick that one decision you're struggling with, business or personal. Start to jot down some ideas, some paths forward. Just brainstorm. Even if it seems ridiculous, the next solution will help you tailor it. So take a couple seconds here while I take a sip of water. Remember, one choice is not a choice. 2 is just a dilemma, either this or that. You need 3 choices to have choice. The double 5 count, 10 deep breaths total, helps unclog your decision-making. All right, keep jotting those down. Allows you to move forward powerfully. Now, I do want to keep us on time, and this is being recorded, so you'll be able to come back and see things. So let's move on to the 3rd decision-making trap. I call this the street gang trap. This is the trap of bad fluences, because what do we know about those mean streets of Des Moines? That's a joke. The street gang are bad influences, and the street gang trap is when we make a decision from the bad influence of fear, of anger, right? Ever send that angry text or email that you automatically wish you could pull back? You make a decision out of guilt. That's a bad influence. Make a decision out of regret. Make a decision from revenge. These are all bad influences that prevent us from making the best decision possible. And I'd like you to all meet Coach Callie Sweeney. Coach Callie, born in 1970 in downtown Detroit. Not a good time to be born in downtown Detroit. His parents were both drug addicts. And when Callie was 3 weeks old, not 3 months or 3 years, 3 weeks old, he was given away to a woman in the neighborhood. No adoption, given away. A year later, his parents were dead, biological parents dead from a drug overdose. Coach Callie bounced from home to home to home. By the time he was 13, he had been shot and stabbed. He was just passed along from grade to grade. You know how that happens when troubled kids are just passed along. He was 17 years old in 11th grade, illiterate. He didn't know what the word illiterate meant. He just knew he couldn't read or write. He finally dropped out of school, and he was literally in a street gang, making it a life of crime, drugs, violence. And he was making every decision from the street gang trap: fear, anger, revenge, machismo, trying to look good. But what Coach Callie has is what we all have, is the indomitable will to not just survive, because we're all really good at surviving. Heck, we've been doing it this year in really weird ways. Not just hanging on by our fingernails, but we all have the indomitable will to thrive. All right, we can all survive, but we all want to thrive. And when Coach Callie was 18, he had a chance encounter with an older half-brother. His older brother was 24, only 6 years older. And he had a conversation, and I don't know if this has ever happened to you. His older brother told him something that, you know, the light just went off. It was said by the right person, the right way, at the right time, where there was a permanent transformation in Coach Callie's life. Not a change, right? We can change out of our clothes and then change back into them. Change is temporary. Transformation is permanent. The caterpillar transforms into the butterfly. When I threw that hand grenade and it exploded, it transformed into energy. It's not going back into the hand grenade. Transformation is permanent. And this is what Coach Callie's brother told him, or actually showed him. He said, "Come here, baby brother." And, you know, Callie asked him, he said, "Big brother, what are you doing? Like, I'm literally fighting for my life out here." And his older brother wasn't. His older brother had a job, had a car, had an apartment, had a girlfriend, had an education, none of which at 18 years old, Callie had. So his brother told him something that transformed Callie's life. And he pulled out a picture and said, "Baby brother, come here. I want to show you. I carry this faded photograph with me everywhere I go." And he showed it to Callie. It was a photograph of his brother and about 10, 11 little boys. They were 12 years old in Michigan. It was wintertime, so they were bundled up. And he's like, "I carry this picture with me as a reminder. Every one of these little boys, you remember some of them, have something in common that I don't. Every one of these boys in this picture are either dead or in jail." And Coach Callie thought that everyone he had surrounded himself with was either already dead, in jail, on their way to jail. And Callie knew that if he didn't transform his life, he would either be dead, in jail, or dead in jail soon. Now, it took him 10 years, but immediately he got out of the street gang and got an hourly wage job doing construction. A year later, he had his GED. A few years later, he had his apartment, his car, his girlfriend. 10 years after that conversation, at the age of 28, he opened up the downtown Detroit youth boxing gym as a nonprofit. But here's the cool thing. It's not a boxing gym. It is a leadership academy disguised as a gym. He created a safe place where he wanted to give back to his community, to kids like him that don't have a safe place to go. For 2 hours before the kids can ever work out, they are tutored by positive male and female role models. And 2 hours after their workout, 4 hours a day, they are tutored on how to make better decisions, not just in schoolwork, how to be servant leaders, how at the tender age of 10, 11, 12, how they can give instead of take. They're taught to be good community leaders, not only in schoolwork, but how to be great decision makers. And here's the cool thing. Coach Callie's been open for 10 years now. So from age 28 to 38, last year he opened up a brand new 30,000 square foot facility in downtown Detroit. He has full enrollment at 800 kids. He has a 500 student waiting list to get in. Can I interest you in a waiting list of 500 people to go to your business, to use your product or your service? The high school graduation rate in a 1.5 mile radius from his school is a paltry 37%. The high school graduation rate for Coach Callie's Academy over the 10 years he's been open, he's batting 1,000. 100% of those tens of thousands of kids have graduated from high school. 97% have gone on to college. How did he go from literally illiterate gangbanger to community master, helping and transforming lives that probably stretch into the millions if you count the families? And this is the third solution that I want to share with you today. We can't do it ourselves. It's called the Fab Five, and this more than ever is going to help us handle all these hand grenade decisions, anything we're struggling with. I'm sure we all know who Tony Robbins is, a big, 7 foot tall personal development guru. I really like Tony's stuff. I encourage you to check it out. One of Tony Robbins' mentors, one of the men that trained Tony Robbins is named Jim Rohn. And Jim had a great saying that I'd like to share with you. It went like this: we are the average of the 5 people we spend the most time with. Quickly now, jot down the 5 people you spend the most time with. Pets don't count. Are there some people that need to be out of there? You know what I mean, those energy vampires, those people that bring you down. I'm a cancer survivor. All right, I don't need negative people in my life. You need to surround yourself, especially if you're in a leadership role, with positive male and female role models, mentors, people that you can go to say, hey, I need help. Not just these yahoos, right? If your Fab Five looks like this, your life, your decision-making process is going to look like this. You need positive male and female role models, people that can tell you no, especially if you're in charge. Somebody you can go to and say, hey, I'm thinking of this, and they can tell you, no, don't do that. It's not the best path forward. Guys, we don't like to get the support we need. I know, I'm one of them. We don't like to say, hey, I don't know what the heck to do. You need to. You need to have a group you can be vulnerable with to say, hey, I need help. And I really encourage you to have a Fab Five for your personal decisions, a Fab Five for your business decisions, because they won't translate. I have 2 older sisters that I use for my Fab Five on personal decisions. They're great at helping me be a better husband, a better father, a better son, so on, but they don't know much about my business. So I have a separate Fab Five for my business decisions. And some of those folks, I wouldn't ask them about, how to raise my daughter if my life depended on it, right? But they're great to help me with my business. So I really encourage you, because if we don't set up a Fab Five support structure, what do us successful high achievers do? I do it myself. I got this. And again, you become successfully miserable. You try to take it on. And I know I did it. I bent to the point of breaking. We need a strong Fab Five around us to help us see the best path forward. And I'm going to set this timer again for another 60 seconds of action. Carpe diem. I know this is virtual, but I'm sure you're able to reconnect with colleagues, friends that you might not have connected with. Create your super Fab Five team now. Start jotting things down. Maybe you see somebody on the call or from yesterday or from today that you want to reconnect with. Somebody that's great at sales and marketing and you're struggling in that area and you want to say, hey, I want to get together and ask you some questions. Can you help me out? Or maybe somebody that's balancing remote learning with their kids and their life you want to talk to. Reach out right now. Start making your list of your Fab Five team. Use your Fab Five to help you get over that tyranny of how. Remember the tyranny of how I talked about, where we aren't able to make a good decision or move a project forward because we get stuck on trying to plan it perfectly. And more importantly, have your Fab Five help you discover and implement your irresistible offer. We all have an irresistible offer as a human being, as a business, as a family, as a team. An offer so irresistible, yet morally, legally, and ethically correct, right? And we're not doing anything illegal, that consumers, customers, clients can't say no to. We all have it. If you want your business to thrive like the partnership for 132 years, Build your Fab Five. Help them conquer the tyranny of how. Your Fab Five will help you in every other situation I've shared with you today. Now, here's a little cheat sheet of what I shared with you. And due to time constraints, I have two extra traps and solutions that I'm going to make available for a total of 5 at the end. So for now, please take a screenshot. Down on the bottom is the 4 Ds too. This is what we covered this morning. And I applied everything that I shared with you. I've done a lot of research, a lot of practical application on myself. And one thing that impacted my life is I learned to make better decisions that led to my level of success the hard way. You see, it took me getting cancer. I had never been sick a day in my life when at age 34, I was diagnosed with testicular cancer. We caught it early. I had emergency surgery to remove my right testicle. And besides having to put up with some hilariously humiliating jokes from my friends, everything was good. There was no spread. And I just had to do what was called aggressive observation. That was monthly CAT scans, chest, abdomen, and pelvis. Not a pleasant experience. Just to make sure the cancer didn't come back. So month 1, 2, 3, 4, I was like a perfect textbook case. Early detection, surgery to remove, keep an eye on it, you're good. Until I wasn't. Month 4, my oncologist walked in and just simply said, Michael, the cancer spread to your lungs and we have to start chemotherapy. Now, I'm sure we all have a personal connection with cancer. Friend, family member. We all see people in the media. And if there's any cancer patients, cancer survivors today with me virtually, my heart is with you. All cancers are different. All cancer treatments are different. Some win their battle, some don't. In my case, I had a really aggressive form of cancer that had metastasized to my lungs. Radiation wouldn't work. And so I was so naive. I had no idea about chemotherapy. Most people go for chemotherapy once every 10 days, 2 weeks. In my case, I went every day, Monday through Friday, from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m., 6 hours every day for 3 months. You know, I mean, I'm a pretty tough guy, but you know, nobody's tougher than that. And what you hear about chemotherapy is true. The hair falls out. You become unnaturally thin and gaunt. I made it through those 3 months and I had to undergo one more procedure to be cancer-free. And that was a final surgery to remove half of my left lung where that dead tumors resided. And it was a success, but at a cost. At the age of 34, at the height of my physical prowess, I was left crippled in a wheelchair, unable to do anything. After 3 months of daily chemotherapy, after losing half of my left lung, I couldn't even stand up. My mom, God bless all you moms. You know, I wasn't married at the time, so at 34, my mom is there taking care of me. But like I shared with you with Coach Callie in the street gang trap, I had that will to not just thrive. Survive. I had that indomitable will to thrive, like we all do. A couple months after that surgery, I could stand up out of the wheelchair. I could shuffle around my home. 6, 7 months after that, I was able to walk a little bit. I had to build up my lung capacity. About a year later, after that surgery, I did the old man shuffle, right? Like I was able to go for a little jog. And then a few short years after that surgery, I ran my first marathon on 1.5 lungs as a fundraiser for the American Cancer Society. And the reason I'm sharing the story with you is that I don't want you to have to suffer the same way I did, because it took a life-threatening illness like cancer to smack me in the face and show me where I wasn't making the best decisions in my life. Just because I thought I was, and just because you think you are, doesn't mean you are. I was holding on to hand grenade decisions, afraid to throw them. I would drop hand grenade decisions. I wasn't good at building a strong team. I didn't know how to ask for help. Cancer changed all of that. I had reached a level of success in my life before cancer, but I had become successfully miserable. I would make a good decision and freeze. I couldn't execute it. But then I would make the worst decision possible and execute it flawlessly. Have you ever done that? How ironic. But I practiced everything that I shared with you today, the double 5 count, everything, the 3x15 rule, especially the Fab 5 got me through cancer. I was able to find that elusive balance, successful at work, successful with my family and friends and with myself, find that elusive balance, practicing that concept of mu shin, of no mind, of clarity. I was able to reach a level of success simply by making better decisions. And as we look to wrap up, I want to share one more real world case with you to give you a little boost of motivation and inspiration and education as we wrap up, because let me see a little comment here. How many of you remember this iconic brand, this iconic porcelain bottles of Old Spice, right? Old Spice. How many of you knew that Old Spice was founded in 1937? Right? They had 1937, they had literally a 1-sentence sales and marketing plan to sell to the older distinguished gentlemen. And how many of you remember buying those gift sets, maybe around this time, November, December, for the older, maybe not so distinguished gentlemen in your life? I remember buying these gift sets for my dad, for my grandfather. Now listen, if you think you're having troubles at work, if your company or product isn't called old, okay, look, they have old in their product. They got this old clunky ship, but for whatever reason, it worked. From 1937 until 2010, sales skyrocketed with Old Spice. But then in 2010, a competitor showed up and started eating Old Spice's lunch. Comment, anyone know who was that competitor to Old Spice that showed up that started infringing on their profits? Yeah, I think I see it coming through, right? Axe body spray, all those skinny boys spraying themselves down, smelling good. Axe showed up. And has that ever happened? A competitor in your market shows up and you start losing market share? Woo! Old Spice was going down the tubes fast. 1937 to 2010, they might not be around much longer, but they applied what I shared with you. And it started where we left off with the Fab 5. They hired this creative team called Weedman and Kennedy to help them navigate these decisions, hand grenade decisions. Especially their CEO was emotionally attached to these porcelain bottles and didn't want to get rid of them. The Fab 5 helped the CEO see that they were too expensive to produce. No one wanted them anymore. And in 2011, they rolled out Old Spice Swagger. Now, here's the great thing, okay? It doesn't have to be drastically different. It's still called Old. The ship is still there, except they made it a little smaller. And it smells the same, but they made the brand fun. They made it relevant, right? How many of us can't forget these Terry Crews commercials? I don't use Old Spice, but I still talk about it because I find it hilarious and fascinating and memorable. Now, when they rolled out Old Spice Swagger, they had a sales goal to double sales in that elusive market of millennial males, 14 to 34. 2 years, want to double sales, 14 to 34. Now, here's the cool thing, the results. By making better decisions, they didn't have to drastically change the product. They quadrupled sales in that 2-year mark and are thriving, holding off Axe body spray. And that's what I want for us. They found their decision-making swagger. And I want that for you as you go forward today, tomorrow, strategically planning, figuring out next steps, handling the ever-changing regulations that the county, the state pushes down on us. I want you to have your decision-making swagger back. So let's look as we go to wrap up at our final action step, and let's apply everything we went over today. Remember, for us to even be successful in decision-making battle, we have to prime our decision-making pump. It's called getting clear. That's the double 5 count I shared with you. The 4 Ds, remember, will help you handle all the electronic inbound stuff that comes in. That's step number 1, get clear. Step number 2, get into action. All right, move your stuck decision forward using the 3x15 rule that I shared with you. Get clear, get into action, and jot a few things down. Just commit. I'll call this person. Most importantly, massive support structures, your Fab 5. Empower them to help you get over the tyranny of how, to help you find your irresistible offer, whether it's strategic planning, raising sales, community engagement, thriving in 2021, getting married, having kids, getting back to school, whatever, they will help you do it. And so as we look to wrap up, I want to share a couple parting gifts with you that will help you continue on with confidence and not trying to memorize all of this. The first gift is, as Christina said, as Sarah I think also reminded us, this is being recorded. So you can go back and rewatch anything from my talk, from anything you learned yesterday or what you will learn today. Share it with your team. You know, if you want to sit down with your team and share parts of my talk with it, go for it. You know, you guys have creative license to use it. The second thing is, as I said, is I have 2 additional decision-making traps and resources. You know, we just can't cram it all in the short amount of time I have with you, but you can go get it for free. This is the gift of learning on my resource page. You simply go to my website, michaelveltri, all one word, .com, michaelveltri.com/go. Password protected, very tough to remember, 2020. There's nothing salesy about it. You don't have to give me an email address.
I'm listening to this thing.
You don't have to create
as we go.
And there you can download all of the decision-making traps and solutions and a lot of other resources. Let's make sure we're all on mute, please. And then, so please jot that down, go explore. There's blog posts. You can download chapters of my book, take a look around, and really get some more information to help you be better decision-making masters. And as we look to wrap up, you know, I talked about this concept of Mushin, and often when we're faced with a big hand grenade decision, even sometimes some little ones, we'll attach more and more fear to the point of paralysis or making the wrong decision. But when we stop and pause, take a deep breath and realize, hey, I've got a tried and true system to help make mission critical decisions or just daily decisions, then we're juggling those hand grenades. We're throwing them effortlessly the right way at the right time all the time. And that is my promise to you. That is the practice. That is the power of the Mushin way, making better decisions. Thank you all for allowing me to spend some time with you. Christina, thank you for having me. I will go ahead and stop screen sharing now and turn over everything to you guys. And it's been a pleasure to spend some time with you this morning.